Hello. There we go. Right. Let's see what we can see today. So hello everybody. I think today is not only an auspicious day, but seeing as I'm be doing my 100th Titan for Adeptus Titanicus, as you can see here. Also, I believe that I actually have everything I might need in the process of doing work today with said Titan, which is, as most of you know who watch regularly, there's always at least one occasion where I may have to nip out to grab something, you know, a paint, some tissue for cleaning up stuff, glue, you know, all sorts of random things, and there's always been one missing piece. Last week we set the record. I think there was 2 occasions I had to go out, possibly 3. It's a bit hazy. After the first one, it was embarrassing enough. Yet again, but obviously the second time, any more often than that, then I just blanked it from my memory, because it's shameful. I should be better organised, seeing as I've got the time to do stuff. But anyway, Legio Krytos for number 100. This Warmaster, as I've seen posted on Instagram and Twitter today, with its pose. So primed and base coloured already. The base itself, again, primed, based and dry brushed. So that's all in hand. Now, normally, once I've done this section, I would actually glue the Titan into place. So this is the position there. So take it back to get a better view of it. So yeah, so the front foot would be, see, down in place there. Rear foot with its slight gate where it's lifting up to move its foot or kick through here, because that's the sort of thing Krytos would do. You know, buildings are not safe with these guys, so they like to, you know, destroy them, as I have in the game, the infamous game at the Black Library Weekender a couple of years ago, where me and Gav Thorpe teamed up with my Krytos and went rampaging, blowing up buildings and Titans and Knights alike. Unfortunately, that wasn't the mission. The mission was only to kill the opponent's warlord, which, as I said, we were having too much fun blowing up everything, so we did that. And yeah, so that happened. So I've managed to get everything organised as best I can, and we will be going straight in with blocking in colours first, because what I will do, I'll do one layer of the paints in the various positions I want on the armour plates, and then I'll be giving everything agraxed, basically, because this is the way I paint, where I get the colours in place and then agrax it, which will then shift the tone, and then I go over again with the actual colours to actually lift them up again. So you know, paint, dirty them up, lift them up again, but leaving a little sort of edge to them, so it's like it adds to the weathering and look. So the Titan has been, you know, through the wars, as they should do. We will go with now I use Tamiya XF25 for my Krytos green, so you can see it there. I knew of the method that Christopher Drew did with his ones, but because there's various colours that you're mixing together, it was Pallid Witch Flesh, Mechanica Standard Grey, and I think it was Sybarite Green, and he mixed like 1/3 each. I'm not great at mixing, so I looked for a alternative, and the light sea grey, as it's called, which does have a definite green tinge to it. So now this is a completed one. This is Hammer of Tyrants, which is the actual legendary Titan for Legio Krytos. This is also after it's had oil weathering, so that's why it's got that slightly darker hue to the green, which actually looks really, really cool. Gives it a real grim dirt street look to it. So with that, it really does add to the whole character that these machines, god machines, have been going through like siege and blowing the crap out of buildings and cities and Astartes and tanks and everything. And it really does give a really nice look with the oil weathering, which is, I've only been doing it since Titans, really. I've never done it before, and I learned various techniques from my friend Phil Tozer and Matt Wingrove, and just applied them, and it worked. So that's good. I think that's pretty awesome to actually get something that works and you're comfortable with, because I'd never used oil paints before, and so I wanted to branch out, and both of them give me some good advice with the painting side of things, and as I said, it just worked out pretty well. So as always, my liquids to keep me occupied and keep me talking whilst painting. Now with the Tamiya, it's a very, I've had to sort of add thinners to this, as you would do anyway with Tamiya paints, or most of them. It makes them go on a lot smoother, but you do need to make sure you sort of clean your brush regularly when using them. It's one of the only paints I've come across where the colour comes out fairly similar if you're airbrushing or using brush on it. So it's quite unique in that respect. Because as I say, sometimes when you use like GW paints through an airbrush, they do come out a fair bit lighter, because obviously it's a more finer grain that you're putting through. I say grain, but you know, finer spray than if you were sort of coating it with a brush. So it was quite a nice surprise, because originally I did try with the airbrush on these guys, and it worked quite well. I was quite pleased with the results. At this stage, you don't have to be that sort of tidy, because obviously as you're adding the washes, that's going to help hide any mistakes. And we've got the trim to go over, which I was reminded the other day I should stop moaning about trim. I've done enough Titans to actually just learn to get on with it, and I have. It is quite relaxing now when you do trim, because say that's the one thing most people will talk about when they are painting Titans. It's like, oh, the trim, and like there are people like myself as well that specifically look to do, or specifically I should say, Titans that have very simple, you know, maybe silver based trim, because when you go with a lead belcher all over as your base, having to paint trim afterwards, you know, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. But to be honest with you, I say once you just get into it, and after like a couple of Titans, you'll find that it just, I just sort of like phase out of my body, and next minute the trim is done, which is always a bonus. So very zen-like. So that helps with the, the hobby is meant to be a form of relaxation, and I say you do get that when painting and painting trim, because you have to have that little bit of awareness around you, so you're not going to be like painting over your details that you've already done, sort of thing. You just paint and breathe and enjoy the process, because once it's done, you just look at it and go, wow, I've done quite a good job there. And it is that whole sort of hobby satisfaction that you're sort of after at the end of the day. You don't want to make a job a chore for yourself, because it puts you off doing it. So that's why I always try to find sort of easier methods with my painting. That's because I know that if I make it too complicated for myself, I will get disheartened and sort of get a bit reluctant to actually work on it. So I'll just give that a bit of a wash. Bone everything. I thought I'd show up a little early and watch this for number 100. Thank you, Rob, for turning up. Lovely to have you here, buddy. Are you doing your Cerastus again today? Because that was looking rather awesome when you was putting the pictures up earlier on. I think everyone was pretty impressed. I haven't been able to get onto the WhatsApp groups today. I've just been so busy at work. But I saw like notifications coming through and like people replying, going, "Oh, Rob, that's awesome." So obviously, you're unleashing your skill and flair upon your Cerastus. Oh, I did see one picture of the banner you was doing. Obviously, I did comment on that as well, didn't I? Because you was asking about the red for Mars. So yes, I did get that. What did you decide on in the end? Or did you get creative and just do your own thing? And hello to everyone else who's joined us this evening. It's lovely to have you here as always. The banner almost broke me. It took me most of the day, and I'm not. Oh no, dude. So what's actually disappointing you or upsetting you about it? Does it just not come together how you imagined it? Is that it? So I know what that's like. I did sneak a little red panel in. You got to pay observance to Mars. They know. They will see. You know you're up to no good if you're not going to put a little bit of red on something. Keep them sweet. So yeah, so as Rob indicated, this is, I've mentioned already, blue squares. Enough said. Ah, right, yeah. Oh yeah, Procon Vi, wasn't it? Yeah. It's like with my AT Procon Vi. When I got the decals, I don't know, I was a little bit put off by the blue eagle head or falcon head or hawk head. Not sure what type of bird it is, but yeah, you know what I mean. So that's why I put my own sort of take on. What did I do with those? I used the decals from something else. Oh, Hawk Shroud, I think they were Hawk Shroud. I used their decals instead, like those black ones. So, but I avoided blue as well because I don't know, just didn't feel it at the time. And obviously, you've seen your ones now, and they look awesome. So I was probably wrong in that assessment. I sketched out a checker pattern, but I feel the lines are still not clean enough. I say I've been doing my checkers recently. I actually bought some railway model railway checker decal sheets I got off of eBay. I think it was like I got some that were 1/8 and some that were 1/16 scale, and that's what I did with the remember that my last Warmaster, the Legio Domitium one. I used them on there. They are quite fiddly using decals. They're just like a totally different animal. Because I've never really been confident of doing what you've done now with you know, drawing out the actual checkers. And I've always been a bit wary. I had a friend who was doing lamenters, and they were, well, actually two friends were doing lamenters, and both of them were saying like doing checkers sort of almost killed them. So yeah, it's you normally get put off by doing things like that, don't you? I'm printing my own decals and using them with mix of Solaria ones. Since they're a Vassal house, I can make good use of Solaria. Yeah, again, it's like you mix those little bits in there, it's quite good. I did actually invest in some decal paper to print off, print myself some decals. Unfortunately, the printer we've got is black and white, so denied. It's alright if you're doing black and white decals, but if you're not, then it's pretty disappointing. Right, put that on, give that a shake again. Got some transfers, but turned out they were stickers. Oh, dude. Yeah, I think because I remember seeing something a while back on the eBay. I was looking round, and it says like decals, but then in descriptions it also said like that there were stickers, and you go, well, what are they? And yeah, so I didn't take the risk. That sucks. It's a very subtle greyish greenness. It just, like the early pictures that were released when like AT first came out, yeah, that was in like White Dwarf. Whether obviously that the lighting, and I was literally just taking the White Dwarf around. I was in a hobbycraft because I was trying to find some alternate paint colours, as I was saying, and I was just literally just like putting the magazine up against the paint pots, and this didn't actually look too bad to one of those early photographs, so that's why I went with it. But I've been happy with it ever since, really. So all my Krytos have received the treatment of the XF25. I use a work printer, still not amazing detail, but it works. Yeah, so that's the thing, my work printer is black and white as well. So it's a good printer, but it's black and white. So especially like if you want to be doing like Solaria or like, you know, Ignite and, you know, colourful sort of decals, it's a bit of a problem. Yeah, so and how are you enjoying the camaraderie of the Titans Owners Club as well? It's a load of good guys there with the TOC. All pretty good eggs as such. Keep on, you know, as I'm painting, I'm actually trying to see what I'm doing, and then realising I'm not actually showing what I'm actually doing. So, apologies again. I'm still learning my positioning on here. I say with this, you can see this little clamp here for the camera. So there's only so much I can manoeuvre it so I can actually see what I'm doing, but obviously you want to see what I'm doing as well. So that's the important, is entertaining you guys, is showing you how things are progressing. You have to be careful with this. You don't want to be going over whilst it's wet as well, because it's really weird, this paint, because it is sort of like a plastic coat in some respects. So as you're sort of painting on, you're sort of stripping off. So that's not good. So you just got to get quick, efficient brush strokes with plenty of colour. And then just let that sort of dry before heading to something else. It is a fairly thin paint. Obviously, use thinners to put them onto into airbrushes. So, but they are quite a thin, easy flowing paint generally. A little bit too heavy there. I'm doing the opposite side just so it can have a chance to dry without having to take the paint off. But my phone does not stop pinging. Yeah, it is quite a lot of sort of messages you get on that. So because I've only just, because of the Titan walk, I've only just sort of gone back into that particular group, because obviously everyone's sort of asking questions, putting out ideas, showing off for their work on that, which is awesome to see. But when you haven't got the opportunity to actually take time to actually look at what's coming through, yeah, you have to sort of take a step back, and I say just silence and revisit every now and again. But you do get a lot of notifications, especially when there's hot topics going on. So feet. Let's get in that into position. I was actually thinking with the the Warmaster's apron, as I call it, the groin apron. I'm actually thinking of doing like alternate colours, so green, then white, green, white, green, white, sort of thing, just to break things up a bit. The shoulder pads, I was going to be going with the white, like the front shoulder pads anyway, that surround the guns and stuff. Go with a white on that. The mid ones, I was actually going to go with red to again give it a little bit more coloration and sort of break things up a little bit. Head white, always do the head white. It's, well, mostly white. You might occasionally do other ones where I will mix it in, and I'll go green on the top here. hobby fuel. Yeah, you have to give it a shake because sort of it dries out a little bit, and that's when you start having issues. You can see, Rob, I'm using my bendy brushes. Let's get that in. And so it's just getting the colours in place, so it's just adding the colours, so when it's all washed over it's going to sort of tie it in, and then it's a case of just carrying on and repeating what you've done already. And I say it doesn't hurt with Titans. I find that it doesn't really hurt if some of the silver is coming through, because then it's like, again, wear and tear. These things have been tearing across the cosmos, blowing the absolute Jesus out of each other, and you want that sort of to add to the weathering of the whole thing. It's such so, yeah, all this trim is going to be Retributor Gold once we get to that phase. So I'll just go at that with a fine brush. So these the top bits in particular, there's quite tiny, so you need that sort of control and zen-like state when painting. So, maybe I should just put my, because last week I was doing the my little it's like my little target zone, so I can see, and you can see, what's actually going on. Yeah, that's that wipe over. But as I was saying, you've got to sort of keep on top of cleaning your brush, because obviously it does clog up with this. Even like with adding thinners to it, it can be a little bit tricksy. And you don't want it being tricksy, you want it being cool and able to flow, because as I say, you just zip around painting what you can. So not that tidy. So this is going to be fun. Doing all the been having a right problem with these because I decided I couldn't. Well, I didn't have the magnets to magnetise them because they're again different size magnets. So I just thought, no, I won't bother. But you get a love. I do love this about the Warmaster kit is that you do get the options. So you can either have, 4 AA guns, or you can have 2 of each, or you can have 4 mortars. Sorry, doing it again. So on the last, I think the first one I've done, the Solari one, was all AA. Then the next two, the Firewasp and the Demisium ones, there's AA at the back and then the mortars at the front. Right, so I'll turn these around and do these insides. It's not worked out as well as I expected. So that's. I'll just double check. I'm fancying, he says, having some sort of metallic. Oh, no, I'll have no. No, it's going to have to be green. No, it's not. It won't do. I have to go with the green now. Well, seeing as I've started painting it, I have to go with the green. But like I do like to have a vague idea of what I'm doing beforehand with the paints. But sometimes I just like to sort of get going, and you just sort of imagine it before your eyes, and you sort of sometimes you just make that decision. Okay, I won't go with that. I'll go with this instead, and I think I'm going to prefer doing that as well. So again, it's all uniform, and I think the green and gold does go well together with this particular sort of green and gold. Like Retribute is quite dark compared to like Liberated Gold anyway. So it sort of stands out nicely, but it tones in really well with the light sea grey or green, as they call it. Yeah, so what I would normally do, Rob, is obviously I go the alternates on the here, and with the actual armour plates, I'll do some striping. So, like on Hammer of Tyrants, where he's got leg there. Some of the other ones I've got say like one leg there. They do like the white, the green. Some have mixed and matched with the. Oh, he's got small arms. Teeny arms. I don't know. So yeah, so I do because the white and the green goes quite well together on this. That's one of the reasons I like this scheme really. It does have that really cool sort of look of ultimate badassery. And same with the weapons on the shoulders. I've done alternate, like green on the inside, white on the outside. So I can split them around if wanted, but I like it as it is with the white on the outside. But back over there. Right, so let's let that dry. Just make sure, yes. AA guns. Oh, missed one panel. Yeah, so as I said, I just decided to glue them in place. Like with the Warbringers, I always magnetise with like future proofing, but these guys, I think, no, I can't be asked. I'll just do it and be damned. Use a little bit of excess just to add a little bit more depth to the colour. No harm in doing that. So, like these dudes, right. Now, I think I'll do, yeah, I'll do the small insides green, outsides white, and I might do a half and half with that, because you don't want it to be all the same all the time, because then that just looks a little bit, you know, bland. You want to give it a little bit of personality to it. What was I doing that side, wasn't I? That side in the green. So, is the I'll just ask because I've got the fan on. Is the sound coming through okay? Obviously, I only get the little things going up and down here, and I don't see any sort of excessive sound coming through from the fan. I'll probably turn it off shortly anyway. It's just it was quite warm in the office today. That's probably going to go with red on that. Normally do like a red and white mix. Again, the red just gives it a little bit more character. Oh, thanks, Max Messenger. Thank you very much indeed. And the sound is good, thank you. I always like to make sure, because I'm so focused on what I'm doing, I'll look up and think, oh my god, everything's on fire. So I do like to check every now and again. Are you hobbying today, Max? Hair is staying in place, so it's not on a high setting. Can't hear anyway. When I was in a hobby group the other day, I did have it on a higher setting, and people were commenting because it was like blowing, billowing, but I did have it in a different position, so that probably helped. But I put it further away today, so hopefully it wasn't going to interfere with the sound quality. I got out the other lamp light here just to help so I can see, because I've got the ring light up above, up yonder. So that's coming in, but maybe I should actually just get another lamp just so I can actually see here, because obviously it's lighting up me, so you can see me, so it's not dark in here. But then it's also getting the light here. So let's try this. That's a little bit better. So that's that side. Stop nudging this thing. Spin that around. Yeah, I've also for later, because when the agrek goes on, I've brought the hairdryer with me, so at least that will help with the drying, because there's nothing quite like sitting there waiting for washes to dry. So just to help things speed along a little bit. Ooh, blight haulers, 3 of them as well. Wow. Those Nurgles. They're was it the blight hauler that came? I'm trying to think. Was that the little tank that they'd done in the Conquest magazine the other year? It was like the Easy Fit one. He has hard work sometimes, so now having a squire digging, dragging a weapon will keep Tom happy. Oh, hello there, Hallam. Sorry. Yes, Hallam, yes. That is the plan. I have inquired at Warhammer World, because Baz, who is the gaming hall manager, I asked him a few weeks ago, but because of the current sort of status with the COVID lockdown restrictions and stuff like that, I wanted to use the big theme boards they've got. There's like a real big sort of like worn-torn battle area. I think it's Ymmigan Bridge, which is taken from Nijmegen Bridge, but they dropped the N and just put in Ymmigan, which is I think like a 6 by 12, or maybe even an 8. It's a big table, whatever it is. So I thought if I could get that and then put all the loyalists one side, all the traitors on the other, facing off with knights and stuff, and just and then just take some really cool photographs throughout. But because of the restrictions they've got in place at the moment, all the theme boards are locked away. They've only got like the basic ones available, which are like easier to clean, because with the themed one there's a lot more work gone into them, so they're harder to take care of, and I don't want to be cleaning them all the time. So yeah, it's it will be done. You'll say I really wanted it to be put onto like one of those tables, just because having all those titans out, if you just put them on the floor, it doesn't really add to the occasion, if you know what I mean. So I wanted to get that look, because I love taking photographs, as most of you know. Taking photographs of the titans, different angles, different positions, but also like to do them with a bit of scenery every now and again. But obviously I don't have a gaming board myself. I have a gaming board, but it's not painted, and it's one of the like 40k ones, so it's no good really. It's out of scale. But yeah, I wanted to sort of, as a sort of a pilgrimage, taking the 100 titans and the 150 knights up to Warhammer World, putting on a big sort of display piece sort of thing, just to get them all out together in their various legios and households facing off, and get some photographs taken, because that would have looked awesome, and that's what you want. And it's sort of being at Warhammer World is sort of, it's significant as well. Obviously there were other people there, and people always want to have a look and see them, and it's nice to have people come around, have a look at your stuff, and it's not every day you're going to see that many Titans in one place, or Knights for that matter. So yeah, hopefully when things improve, then I'll get the day off and shoot up there. It's a couple of hours drive from where I am, down in the south of England, but it's what I would want to do, because I want to do it justice, if you know what I mean. So yeah, obviously I would put out on like sort of social media and stuff that the day I was planning to go up there. Obviously I don't know if there's any restrictions on numbers at Warhammer World, but if anyone was around or was had the day off or anything, wanted to pop down, have a look, then it's all cool. Yeah, it was in No Fear and the Conquer. Yeah, no. So it's those all the Nurgle stuff since like the new like Primaris and Nurgle ranges in particular. Like Nurgle's got so much awesome looking, very characterful models. So yeah, it's seeing all them all painted up and gruesome-fied, mucky and yucky. It does give a challenge. I know some people say, "Oh, it's easy, just like slap and paint and slap this," but you've got to sort of know what you're doing in order to get them looking just right, so they look naturally dirty. If you know what I mean, which is it's a skill in itself. So, and a lot of weathering that you've got to put into it as well. So you've got all that to worry about. So I'm just, when I've got my supplies, my drinkies and stuff, I'll put that back on there for a second. So put him there, because we have plates. Now the armor plates in question, because with most of my Krytos, I've gone with like the Imperial look still, because I was basing it sort of like earlier heresy, because obviously they didn't really get all corrupted until nearer the time of the siege. So I wanted to keep them looking, menacing. That's why I went with the sort of grill face, because that is out that and the skull, but the skull one is on the Legio Krytos. So I've been waiting to do this one for Krytos. So I'm going to be going with one plain pad, because I've got Krytos decals which I want to use on that, and then I'll use one of these on the other side, because I do like the gold and the green again. Well, it'll be red in this case. Will look really quite nice and fetching. With the thighs, they'll be green, and then I'll probably do some stripes over one of them. Green on the leg greaves here, because you've got the leg greaves are 3 parts. So you've got the 2 sides, and then you have the front section where you have like either the missile launcher or the las cannon. I'm going missile launchers in both, because I think it's more characterful for Krytos to just come in and just unleashing volley upon volley of missiles. I was going to have just the missile launchers in the shoulder mounts, but I've decided against that, because it's really hard to, without putting a lot more work into it, which I'm not too keen on. And with the missiles, Vulcan Mega Bolters are better for shield stripping. Obviously, you're going to be getting close anyway, or melter cannons I like in particular. Plasmas, well, plasmas are always good, but it's the heat. When you've got 4 plasma guns, you are asking for trouble in some respects. So yeah, you've got to be a bit careful. Hallam, I can't wait to see it. Going to be living vicariously through hobbyists on Twitter over the next few months as I'm at basic training. So keep us updated on Twitter, and I'll maybe able to show my face. Yeah, no, they're awesome, man. What are you going in with your basic? Who? Yeah, Army, Air Force, Navy, any particular field branch or whatever. I hope you enjoy it without too much strain, and usually get through it and then get out as soon as you can once you're into the your chosen unit, and obviously keep safe, but obviously do the job that you've decided to do to the best of your ability. But yeah, so it's yeah. I always thought years ago I did think about going into the army, but at the time circumstances sort of went against me. I had a lot of sort of my mum would never have forgiven me if I had gone into the army, but personally I have regretted not doing that myself. It's just one of those things I just thought I should have, but didn't. So that's my regrets for you. But I hope you serve your country proud and with honour, and and you keep safe when you are out in action. Max, in some ways I'm not looking forward to the weathering, but I also am. Yeah, that's the thing. You do a lot more sort of weathering work with Nurgle, don't you? Really, but it is a challenge. It's not as easy as people that don't paint Nurgle seem to think. There is a skill to it, and all the guys that I know who have done Nurgle or like normal Death Guard in the Heresy really do put a lot of effort into the weathering, because it has to look right. You've got the right amount of sort of deterioration of the armour, and I do love working with washes. So as I said, like with my method where I'm painting with these guys, Titans and that, where I'll do the base colours, they'll block the colours in, then I'll wash over it all, and then I'll go over, but leaving the extreme edges, so it still leaves that sort of dirty grubbiness from the wash, and then you sort of lighten it up towards the centre with the layer. Occasionally I might go over it again with a watered down Agrax mix, just to sort of to tie it in and to soften, so it's not looking like parade ground sort of new, because that would then destroy the illusion of the sort of grubbiness, if you know what I mean. But yes, yeah, there is an art to it, and just having a little. I'm just thinking, because these ankle bits here, so you've got 3 ankles which go on there. I'm going to have to go green with them as well, because I'm not going to be happy with the contrast from going green, white, and then again white sort of thing. It's going to look like socks. I don't want them to look like socks. I want it to look badass, not sort of like, oh, I've got my socks pulled up, because that'd be weird. Cheers. Headed into the army to train as a tanky. Oh, a couple of friends were tankers. So yeah, no, they loved it. Like one of them, Doug. After he came out of the army, he went into fire service, became a fire chief, and he's retired about 4 years ago. But he absolutely, you see the pictures of him sitting on his tank, as happy as Larry. So good luck with that, buddy. And it's the closest you get to being a princeps in the Titan. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, tank commander is the next best thing to a Titan princeps. So obviously in the 40k, I still reckon in the 40k period as well, tank commander, princeps, or knight scions, princeps. Imagine like being a tank commander of like a shadow swords are my favourite super heavy. Always have been since like epic days. Just that a tank with a Titan grade volcano cannon sitting on it, just like sit there, and its purpose is to hunt down Titans. So it can kill them, which is what you want a tank like that to do. But Layman Russes are also cool. One of my other friends, he's got a huge tank collection. He actually works for Games Workshop Forge World up there in Nottingham, and obviously he's put his money wisely into tank futures. So he's got like a real huge sort of Layman Russ tank company, along with the opposite, like the support heavy tanks as well. He's got loads. He's oh, hi Enzy. Hello. He's got lots of plans to take on Titans with all these tanks one day. So that might actually, he has actually got Titans as well. So they're to support his tanks. But it is all about the tanks for him, bless him. He loves them. And you say the pictures, I've only seen a couple of pictures over the past year, and just seeing them all out on like his like living room floor, and you just go, wow! That just seeing that amount of like plastic crack, and all in uniform colours as well, and then you've got all like the squadrons of heavy tanks as well. It's fantastic. There's nothing better than seeing a mass formation of armour. So yeah, or Titans, which next next month, August, Titans Owners Club doing a Titan Walk. So obviously it's a paid event, but prepare for flooding of the internet of many Titans and Knights doing battle over the weekend in I think the 21st and 22nd of August. So yeah, there's going to be loads of stuff there, and there are some really nice looking, like Rob, who's here in the chat. His Legio Solaria Titans, which some of you might have seen on, if you follow him now, on Twitter and Instagram, or even on Facebook in the like AT and 18 or Titans Owners Club Facebook page. His Solaria are really exceptional. Big ones and small ones, because they've all got sort of like interesting stances as well. This one Reaver he's got is like got his foot up to bring it down on top of a gunning placement, which is just absolutely stunning. And it's just like, I'm gonna crush you now, and slam it down, which you can see happening. Titans do that all the time. They like to stomp. Right, so let's move him back over here, get him out of the way, and then get some greenage. Yes, thank you very much. It's not too bad. I'm on the beer. God, I'm going to get through this because I have to get through this. Got a little bit of a headache. I have taken some paracetamol. It's been a long old day, and I've got some coffee here as well. So I'll probably get onto that as well in a sec. But yeah, having a good time so far, and everyone has been quite lovely so far today in the chat. So thank you for that as well. Keep doing that. Sorry, my bad. Painting off camera again. Let's avoid these coggy bits. That's just checking on the light side of things because I'll make sure that you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Ooh. So give that a wash. When I built my Stompy Reaver, I had in mind that the princess had lost control of the machine spirit. You can definitely imagine that with the way it's just like foot up as high as it can go before ramming it down on top of the poor fixed turret emplacement. That turret emplacement, was that one of the old Forge World ones they used to do, Rob? Or was that just a kit bash with a layman Russ? Oh, caffeine. That shake again. Yeah, no, he's the sort of the tropical the rusty tropical warlord. Absolutely love that. It just looks so sort of thematic and just poor little thing, but it looks fantastic the way you've done that, Rob. To be fair, I know that Scott Artist Empire, he really likes the look of that one as well. So who knows? He might just do something with that one day. When he gets in the mood to do something, he just does it, which is really cool. So it's like we did these little paint overs he does really captures and makes your models look that little bit extra awesome. Because obviously you do an awesome paint job with your stuff anyway, but then it does give it a little extra bit of life. And that knight of yours, as I said to you before and said to the stream the other day, it does look like an actual oil painting the way it's been finished off, where you sort of using the decoration and the paints that you've used to create the base and the actual model, and then it's just adding that little bit more to it, and just bringing it to life in a painting, which you can't really knock. Bane turret with 2 knight repeating battle cannons. Ah, right, okay. I wanted to give it a name. Yeah, he definitely has that. It's like you say, because all your guys are sort of stepping in from the ocean, like from the water edge. So you can just imagine them having those sort of anti-landing ship cannon and emplacements all around the place, and your titans and knights are storming the beach and stomping. So one of my favourite sort of old school pictures of titans is I think it was in like the supplement for Space Marine, where they obviously when they when they done Epic, and they brought in like Xenos, like Eldar and Orcs, and there's this like picture of like this Orc war boss and a couple of like boys sitting in like a little like observation post with a pair of binoculars. Like, and the war boss is looking dead ahead with his binoculars, and the two boys behind him are like trying to gain his attention because there's a warlord titan walking up behind them. Always brings a smile to my face. Cheers, Hallam. It was a spur of the moment kind of thing. I had a spare warlord. Yes, I know it sounds silly, but always wanted to do something like that. Yeah, it really does. I used to love those. Remember those sort of art books you got, sort of during the 80s, like where these artists would do like real sort of like edgy, sort of sci-fi paintings, like of like dystopian sort of futures and stuff like that. Eldrick, I think, was one of the books I remember. I think like even like Mobius, I think, done one when he was doing June with Jodorowsky back in the 70s. But you had all these like concept arts and stuff. And some of those sort of images where you've got like all this high technology and it's basically been abandoned or, you know, left to fester and to sort of rust away somewhere. Not, you know, just because they don't have the ability to operate them anymore and stuff. Hello, JS Idaho. Hope everyone is having a great Saturday. Yeah. We're having a pretty good time so far. Thank you for joining. Nice to see you again, dude. So Titan D-Day wasn't something I needed until now. Yeah, say I don't have any bases on my big guys, even my warhounds. Although I did try doing it, but up until AT. I wasn't really one for basing. I always kept basing really simple. So it's just like basic sand, bit of paint, a bit of wash, and that was it. But I've upped my game somewhat with AT, put a lot more work and effort into it, and it has kind of paid off, I think. Especially like we're using like the Civitas stuff. But with big guys, never even, you know, thought about doing a sort of a base for them, and seeing Rob's works with his, you just go, wow, it's so good. So yeah, I'm not ever going to stop complimenting your work, Rob. You do realise that, because I absolutely love it. It might have been different if you'd done a different Titan Legio. If you'd done them with Mortis, I wouldn't even talk to you. But no, seriously though, that is some really epic work, and how you've tied it all together and then replicated it as well in, well, a bit of both. You were doing it hand in hand, wasn't you, really? Where you're doing doing your AT stuff as well. I have a Warmaster with a landing craft between its feet. I just need to finish it, but the knights keep getting in the way. Yeah, it would be neat for GW to make AT scale tanks, at least the larger ones. Well, that's the thing with, like we've said before in other like hangouts. You know, they are a company, they are a business, and I think if it continues, like if AT continues as well as it has been, and you know the interest is there for Epic, and like, you know, having Space Marines and stuff all over again, but in the new AT scale, because they've got Imperial Aeronautica Imperialis already out, and they're in AT scale, so you can see them doing it, but it's as and when. You know, it could be, you know, it could be tomorrow, it could be 2, 3, 4 years from now. You know, because at the end of the day, they've got to maintain what they're producing at the moment, which obviously is quite hard under the current circumstances. like with obviously raw materials and the like. But you can see it. You know, I would not be surprised if it happened. Would not at all, because all the specialist games that have been released have done pretty well, from what I understand. Obviously, I've helped out with the AT side of things quite significantly over the last couple of years. So yeah, I can see it happening, but it's as and when. So who knows? What else we got on here? I've had a load of AT scale tanks 3D printed, scale up epic vehicles 160% for bases and terrain. I actually, before, like a couple of years ago, with a hobby group, we were sort of talking each other up on doing epic armies, and so I actually hit eBay and got a load of like sort of, well, Marines, and they came with some like land. They were all proper, the original plastic ones, sort of thing. So like the green plastic. So I had some Land Raiders, Rhinos. I had a couple of Land Speeders, a few bikes, and then it was mostly just tactical Marine sort of thing on their little sprues, which I still got. I was painting them up as Imperial Fists because I just fancied doing epic Imperial Fists. The project never came to fruition, so I bought this stuff for nothing really, but I have used a few bits, like a couple of Land Raiders and a couple of Rhinos, just for basing, basically. Turn that fan off a sec. See how if it warms up too much. At Rob from Hallam. Defo need D-Day table and use special rules of deep water wading from one of the supplements. Can't remember which one it had it on it in its mind. I years and years ago at Wayland Games Hobby Centre in Hockley, which is near to where I live, they used to have a resident like hobby war games group that used to use the facilities. So after they closed at night, they would come in and play the games. And what they used to do was actually make boards and tables. So it was really experienced hobbyists, and some of the tables they had were just absolutely fantastic. And you had like one of them where you had like the water's edge, and then coming into sort of a bit of sand, like desert, not desert, like beach and stuff, and then up onto the rock cliffs and stuff like that. All different game systems you could play, and all these tables were immaculately and so well done. You know, thematically looking fantastic, and yeah, that was really, really awesome when they had those tables. Unfortunately, the gaming group went and found their own premises and took their boards with them, sort of thing. So, but yeah, it would have been awesome to actually like played like Titanicus on some of these things, or you know, the scenic boards were just awesome. Hello, David. Yeah, David, do you remember those when Wayland first opened up their gaming hall, and they had the really sort of detailed hobby tables that the games group that was resident there had? Do you remember them at all? One of them had like Napoleonic era fort, and they had like a little harbour with this like, you know, Napoleonic era ship docked up at. You know, so obviously the ship could come off and on again, sort of thing. But just absolutely brilliant. Look the part. I want to make a partially submerged table. Simply do not have the space anymore. Yeah, no, that's always, space is always a problem, isn't it? Really, with especially with boards. So it's so sorry. I was just I don't know if you heard just a minute ago. There was a lot of cheering going off, so I'm assuming that there's been another goal for England in the Euros. So yeah, I was just seeing what the score was. I will not relate it, just in case people aren't bothered. And I don't have an interest, so it's fine. I'll just keep it to myself. Right, I'm going to take a break from the green, as you can tell, because I've got the red out. Just to sort of, let's say, just take a break from it, really. I'll do something different. So I'm going to go, said, plain one with fist on red. Yeah, there was a couple of really good ones. There was like a snow themed one, and I particularly liked that because the buildings they had, you could actually lift the buildings up, and they had like cellars, which was even more awesome. But yeah, like you had like obviously all the like the cornfields and you know, for, especially like bolt action and Flames of War at the time. That sort of when it sort of that sort of era. They really did look amazing. I actually took some. There was one table which was like a sort of you could imagine it being like a Caribbean island with its like palm trees and stuff. And I'd done some, took some photographs of my towel on there with my friend's some of his death watch he'd done. And just took some like photographs, and I've done some like photo editing, so it looked pretty cool. Put the lid back on now. What Legio? Oh right, Legio Krytos, Godbreakers. So it's it doesn't, once you've gone through with getting the greens on, getting the filling, blocking in the colours and the trim and stuff. That's when it starts to come alive. But at the moment, I say the green is just there. I've got to add the Corax white into the mix as well on certain parts, so it looks the business. And I wanted to do these middle pads on the shoulders in again in a different colour, just to make it sort of stand out, so it's not so like monotone with all the green everywhere. But that's the plan. Just executing it now. And then the other one's going to be one of these goldies. You know I'm concentrating because I'm not talking. Sorry. Doing it again. Let's get rid of that. And around these little bits. So, JS, are you hobbying, or are you working, or just popping in to say hi? What are you up to, dude? So it's always nice to know if you are hobbying and what you're hobbying with. I have to admit, when I started using sort of like shades, when sort of was it mid 2000s, when they brought out contrast paints. I did notice that my painting results were getting a lot better looking. I was a lot more satisfied with how things were turning out. Really did sort of add something new to my skill set, and I've never looked back since. And so Agrax is my go-to. I know lots of people like using Nuln on their Titans and stuff, but I prefer the Agrax. It gives that more sort of like oily and dirty look to Titans, especially like on the superstructure and that. Just get a weird noise from my thermos, where you know, like little air. And I really hear. I say that there's a pub near to us, and I'm just wondering if it's. Oh, there might be people in back gardens watching it on projectors, because there are people like that around this area. I can really hear them. Now I'll turn the fan off. So I think there might have been another girl. Sounds interesting. Right, that's that. So my army is based on snowy bases. What are your thoughts on snow settled on Titans? Well, obviously, if snow is settled on Titans, it means that they're not moving and they're inactive, in my opinion, because a plasma core of a Titan is going to produce heat, even if it's just idling, sort of thing. So you will get, so most areas, like the central core area, particularly, going to be like warm. It would only really be like settling on the feet if it's not moved at any time. Carapace, again, near the weapons, I would probably say if it's las weapons they've got mounted on the like on a warlord, for example, I don't see snow settling there, because again it's going to have current running through it even if idle. If it's missiles, on the other hand, possibly, but to me, when you see sort of like again, like tanks, like World War II Russian tanks, when they're sort of like dug in and they're not moving, snow settles, they just kept it there, sort of thing, because insulation at the end of the day. But once they get moving, that's coming off, no matter what they're doing. So any motion, that's going to shift it off, avalanches and all that. So depends on what you're doing with it. But if you're just going to go static poses, then yeah. So, but always going to have some sort of, like, void shields do sort of produce a sort of like atmospheric conditions. I don't know if you've read any of the Siege of Terror books, because where they've been talking and describing about like the void shields protecting the Imperial Palace. They created weather systems because of the high heat from explosions and fires and stuff like that. So you might get the same sort of thing on a micro scale compared to obviously Imperial Palace, because there's like mega shields protecting that. But yeah, I would probably say go with sorry, long-winded. I have been sort of faffing. Sorry. but yeah, I wouldn't have snow settled unless I was doing like a diorama where it's like a Titan standing sentry and it hasn't moved. So those various places I've mentioned, or obviously missile pods, snow, because there's not any sort of energy in there to sort of warm it, if you know what I mean. So yes, probably not very helpful. So yeah. Right. So what am I doing now? I've got to do these. Right, back to the green. Dry that off. Cheers, physician. I think you're right. I just started on Mortis and loving it so far. Priest of Mars by Graham was, yeah. Priest of Mars. I really did enjoy that series. The whole thing with the Arc Mechanicus. The adventure of going off to try and find this Magos who went missing, and learning what actually happened, and the Titans as well. That was the scene I'm talking about with the Titans on the Arc Mechanicus, and as I say, all the characters in there as well. There was the father and daughter tech priest dude, Rabute, the rogue trader as well, and his crew, the Black Templars, the whole really, even all some of the other like tech marines and tech priests, and what was going on below decks with the servitors and everything. I really did enjoy that. It was a really good, enjoyable ride, and you saw different elements of 40k, and you got more insight into the Mechanicus as well, because that was the first time I remember ever hearing of an Arc Mechanicus. There might have been mentioned in stuff, but at the time I just did not register it. But yeah, Arc Mechanicus, such a massive ship, and just with its like little forges and foundries on board it, and the fact that they didn't know how everything worked on it as well. They was only using like 10% of its capabilities because they just forgot the knowledge and didn't know how to actually operate it properly. So that was a really good read and a really good adventure. And another view into sort of Titan combat as well was when they did have little fights and stuff. That was, I think it was a Storm as well, Warp Runners. And I must admit, that's where I'd learnt about the manifold as well. So it was the first time I ever sort of heard of the manifold, because obviously beforehand it was all MIUs, so it's like plug straight in. But now they had like a cyber construct where they interact with the Titan, like in like a Ethernet or internet or infranet. Yeah, really enjoyed that. Was it Liana and Vasily, with father and son, father and daughter? Yeah, good times. And Trooper Hawks. or Hawkins, who was a character from Storm of Iron. So, yes. It was I read that when that came out. That must have been at least 8 to 10 years ago now, I think. Because it was quite sort of funny, because when they done the omnibus, it's called The Forges of Mars. There was, I'm sure, there was a like first sort of edition sort of thing, and it was called Forge of Mars. Oh, the Legio Krytos are a traitor, JS. They're when I was getting ready to undertake my first steps upon the road of Adeptus Titanicus, I was always going to do fire wasps because I had obviously 28mm fire wasp titans, but I couldn't bring myself to paint Mortis because of being a fire wasp, and I knew that Mortis was going to be really popular as a force, so I wanted to do something different. And when I heard of the existence of the Godbreakers, Krytos, the name is so cool that I just thought, now I'm doing them. Because that name is just badass. So I went with that. And several others since. Ah, yes. Yes, Hallam. Honor the Dead audio book. That was next level. That really, really was. And like, you know, I think it made people realise just how awesome Titans were. Just having sound effects, you know, the war horn sounding and like, you know, the weapons firing and stuff in the audiobook. It was just epic, and that really did sort of like light a lot of people's imaginations. So yeah, definitely that was a smart move. Them actually doing that in the first place. Because like normally like audio books is just, you know, you have the narrator telling the story, but when you add sound effects into it, that just takes it into a whole new sort of region of awesome. Although I imagine most people do sort of like have a little talk about the villain, do the Legio Infernus or Sutarova, as it was called, the Fire Masters, Princeps, did sound a little bit like he was moustache twirling. But hey, they do that sort of thing. That's their thing. Everyone does Morty's my first Legio Krytos. There you go, see? That's why we're friends, Rob. We do cool Legios. Yeah, so they were my first traitor Legio. Oh, JS actually, yeah. Sorry, because you come in later, didn't you? here's what Krytos will look like once it's finished and weathered and everything. So there you go. So this is actually the Hammer of Tyrants, who is sort of engine of legend. So right, right, just seeing. Right, yeah, they might have a little problem with. I think the internet's going a little bit crazy over here because I've just had a notification coming up saying that the not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Although the stream health is okay, the status is showing poor. So if there is any buffering, that's the reason why. Obviously, people are using lots of internet around the place. Much like there's always power surges when adverts come on. People watching TV and they go along and start making themselves a cup of tea. Always the way of things. So, yes. So I hope, I'll still keep going. Hopefully we'll get our way through this slight bufferingness situation. I don't know what to call it really. It's not normal. So, what's people's hobby plans for the weekend? I know obviously some of you are doing hobby tonight, but those of you who aren't doing it tonight, are you going to get some hobby when you get home, or when you day off tomorrow? Perhaps you do some hobby then. Is anyone else going to be jumping in on the AT fun train? Because it is rather good. I was talking to somebody on I think Instagram, and there was like a pro painter, and they were saying, "Oh, it's really been tempting me to get into AT," and I was just pointing out to him that it's a really good game. It's a fun game, but the models are lovely to work with and to paint. Painted them dark metallic green purple colour shift paint. Ooh, that's different. That's a bit. I've seen some of those colour shift paints in action, and I think, oh. But I've never thought of like doing it on a Titan because I always go for the sort of down and dirty look. I would never have thought of using colour shift paints. I think let's do them. I think that's the. Actually, give that a little bit. Another going over actually before I put this away. I'll put this away for now anyway. Thank you, JS. Yes, I like to keep them sort of looking presentable. So keeping them as realistic as possible wherever I can. but obviously make them dirty because Titans always going to be dirty. So, as I say, has any of you suffered any buffering issues so far since the warning come through? Nospheric interference, yes, David. Yeah, definitely. First time we've actually had that come up, to be fair. But you know, when you've got people watching football and streaming and everything, and everyone indoors doing their streaming and everything, stealing all the internet. JS, no plans yet, although seeing this has tempted me to start my Reaver and Warhounds. Do it, dude. Let's get on there. Oh, you're painting the Reaver weapons. Nice. Is that, I know you, after doing your Warhounds and then starting your Reavers, you were a little bit it sounded quite trepidatious. I think that's a word. With all obviously the tribal stuff that you got to do for Lania Scara. But have you broken the back on it? Are you happy with how it's coming along, David? Because that's the main thing. You've got to be happy with your work. Corex White. Hello, Mr. Corex White. Lovely to see you again. What am I doing now? I'm looking at something. Why am I looking? What have I seen? Oh, your head. That's it. Paintbrush I need as well. That's fine. So that's doable. That'll do. That'll do, Pick. That'll do. Yeah, no, so with my because for some reason I don't know what's happened, like ever since doing the live streams, I've lost the ability to actually see the chat on the actual screen. So I have to have my phone going at the same time. So every time you see me like doing this, I'm looking down to see what people are saying. So I was just missed. Astorum was my first, Krytos was my second, Mortis was my third, and 2/5 the way through my Gryphonicus 2K battle group. They only currently own Mortis and Gryphonicus. Yeah, no, Gryphonicus are cool. I actually I had an itch I needed scratching with Gryphonicus, and I did do a test piece which I put onto a base for my Audax. I'm just going to close the door. Sorry about that. So I went and did a little experiment. It was all right. I wasn't really considering about doing another battle group, although I might have been, but I wasn't. I'm not sure if that would come into fruition at some point, because I do like Gryphonicus, but again, it was like a lot of people were doing Gryphonicus at the start anyway, and they are a cool Legio. I have I've walked alongside Gryphonicus on several occasions, and every time my Firewalks have walked alongside Gryphonicus, we have been victorious. So that always is a nice little thing to have in general. I'm happy with the black stripes and red panels and the white transfers. They're adding needed interest to the bigger Titans. Yeah, well, that's cool. As long as you're getting into that sort of zone with them, that you can be happy with what you're doing. But they do look really good, mate. Especially, I said, that is such a hard scheme to sort of master, and you've done really well with that. So keep up awesome work. Get these in there. Yes. It's catching up with me now. The adrenaline is wearing off. Caffeine's wearing off. Yeah, the other day had a bit of a broken night's sleep, as some of you know, because of mysteriousness happening with disturbances, possible intruders, or it could have been a fox. Don't know, but got woken up and I couldn't get back to sleep afterwards properly. So it was very broken night's sleep, and then I was working. No, sorry, I was off, but I was at my kids because my son's already out of college, and needed to look after him. But yeah, so it was a pretty constant day of doing stuff, and just kept on going. Got a full night's sleep, but when I woke up this morning, I felt worse for it. So it's like, oh, you just can't win. You get a good sort of like 7-8 hours of uninterrupted sleep, and then you wake up and you feel absolutely crap. So it's like, well, what the hell's going on here? You're meant to feel good and refreshed, but I did not. So that was a poor start to the day. And obviously with work, my work is constantly busy, and we actually had a theft at the store today, because I sell like flooring, carpets, laminates, vinyls, artificial grass, and had some guys come into the store, and we had a customer who had bought some an offcut of artificial grass. It was the wrong size, and they wanted to buy the right size. So we said, okay, well, we can return that, and we'll just offset the difference, and blah 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 blah. And she brought it back today, and I said, well, we was going to pick it up off you. And she's gone, well, it was just sitting in the way on the stairs. I just wanted to get it out of the way. So I went, okay. So I took it back, and so I put it back out on sale. But these couple of guys came in and was being a bit. It's weird that you get a couple of guys, like teenage. Well, not they weren't teenagers; they were sort of like in their 20s. But it's weird that you get a couple of them coming in talking about carpet, and the way they were talking about carpet and stuff. Looking at this one, looking at that one. And at the time, I was in the store on my own because the boss was out doing an estimate. But what they were doing was basically keeping me in the store, because obviously if I moved around, they might have gone somewhere and been a bit, naughty. So stolen something else. But they ended up, the grass offcut that was returned got stolen. So it was a bit like, oh. Because the boss said, well, I thought you said that woman brought the carpet back. I went, well, she did. So where is it? I said, well, I'll put it out the front. Put it back on sale. Not there no more. So, yeah, that was a bit different. It was the first time that we've had something stolen in ever. Well, not ever. We did have something else, some samples stolen by two girls we lend samples out so you can take them home, see them in situ. They obviously didn't want to leave a £10 deposit, and as they left, I've gone round the corner to where this display was, and I saw these samples where they hang were sort of moving, and they literally just grabbed them and walked out, got into their nice brand new Mini, and drove off with them. And you just think, really, you know, there's better. If you're going to steal something, you don't steal carpet samples. But obviously, they really like that carpet samples. Some people. Oh yes, these cannons. So I'll pop them on for you because they're magnetized. So these are the suzerain pattern plasma destructors. They are higher strength in comparison to some Furies and plasma blast guns, and they are very, very devastating, especially if you're going to be doing maximal fire, because on maximal fire, which if you know the maximal fire rule, increases the strength of the shot by 2. So these are actually maximal are doing strength 13, 4 shots I believe, and it also, you can bump up the power by adding a reactor. I think spending a reactor, you can actually give them the fusion trait. So they're sort of like a hybrid, almost like a melter in some respects. If you give them fusion, they are like a melter plasma. So you roll a d10 for your armor penetration or armor damage, whatever. So strength 13, and then rolling a d10. So you've got a very good, because most things on a 4+ you're critting, most things. And so these things can absolutely decimate your Titans, but they do produce a lot of heat. So these Titans have like the special equipment, and one of them is like a plasma coolant system. So you can basically just wipe out any stored plasma, I believe. I haven't actually got the thing with me, otherwise I could just read it out for you. But yeah, they are pretty badass. They're alright range as well on them. So these sort of things, you've got the Revelator missiles at the top there, hiding just here. So they've got a good bit of range, quite good, decent strength for a missile as well. So it will do a lot of damage. These little guns don't do anything, unfortunately. And you know, you've got the defense, and you've got the bum bolter, bum mauler. So yeah, brimming, and then the AAs on the top, brimming with weaponry. And I want to do the face for here. No, they come with a kit. So, as I said, the Warmaster kit is one of the best kits around, full stop, because of the options that you get. So you get a lot of, you get all 3 heads are complete 3 heads, whereas like in other kits you might only get the ability to physically build 1 head in total. You can build all 3 here. You've got all the shoulder mounted weapons, so that's cool. So what's slot into there? So turbo laser, because the thing with the Warmaster is the shoulder weapons are Warhound grade weapons. So you've got turbo laser, plasma blast gun, Vulcan mega bolter, inferno gun, but then you also have melter cannon and missile launcher. So that kind of insinuates that you can get missile launchers and melters for Warhounds. So they will probably be a forge welded kit. They're bringing them out. They've obviously done Volkites. Well, I'm surprised they didn't do a Volkite option for the Warmaster, because Warhounds have them. Oops, sorry, that's my hand. Sorry. So fixated on what I'm doing. Right. I can hear fireworks. Hey, G Stealer. Welcome. Would the missiles be easy to magnetise? Just battle bring capos gun to look ace. I suppose. Well, it's quite a snug fit, to be honest. There's no base to it though, so when you build it, you've got the top, sides, the back, which is the door, and the front part. So it's actually hollow there. And yes, it is bigger than a. What's that? Hold on a sec. Let's, yeah. Let's get this out of the way. So. Right. So I'm going to have to take that out. Hold on. So yes, it's a bit tall. So and oh, damn it! I can't put the thing back in. Yeah, yeah, trapped. I think that was where it was. I can't honestly remember. Yeah, so I've seen some of the battle bling stuff, and they do look rather cool. But I'm such a sort of purist with my Titans that I probably wouldn't get myself those sort of things because I like them being all the official sort of stuff. But they have got some interesting bits and pieces that they've done. I know Rob's got some battle bling stuff. I think you had like one of the heads, wasn't it? Because you entered in the Maximal Fire battle bling competition. Because I've been listening to the Maximal Fire podcast recently. So it's pretty cool. I have a few high test drinks already. I just realised you're not working on a warlord. You've had a few high test drinks. Hey, Harry Scott. Pew pew pew. Welcome to the Pew 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 channel, where it's full of pew 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 all the time, every time, 60% of the time. So right. So head, that's done. Armor plates, that's what we got to go to. Puke motion sickness. Yeah, it is quite a difference. Yeah, sorry about that, G Stealer. Yeah, it was just getting the camera back into position. Oh, I've just noticed we've got excellent conditions again. So yes, it's all good. So I hope that there wasn't too much buffering. If there was any, I didn't notice any on mine, on my little phonage down here. It's got all the weapons, Scott. It has all of them. I tells you. Suzerains, so they're still maneuverable. Because my idea for him, as he comes strolling out, obviously it was the same pose I was putting on the my tweet earlier on. So it's like one leaning out, the other one's like behind, where he's got to bring it round to bear, but he's like stomping through the ruins of a churchy type building. This one, in fact. So put some bit of roof bits on there. Done obviously a slight difference in the colour on there to take it away from the base, but obviously when I go over that with egg racks, I'll probably tone in more, but then I'll just give it another dry brush or something to bring it back up again. Where are we? Right, these bits. So are you working at the moment, Scott? Are you doing some of your awesome creativity with some lucky commission? Are you doing some of your Mantic stuff? What are you up to tonight? Have you played golf and did you win? So Chris from Tabletop Standard as well. He's recently finished off a Warmaster, and he's done Legio Domitium as well, which I wasn't aware of. So that's like, oh, awesome! Chris is doing them as well. Yeah, he's done a really good job. He's done alternate head, which I think somebody made for him. So it's like another sort of skull head, which strangely enough I did actually think about utilising like an Armiger head for this guy, but in the end I just thought, no, I've been wanting to put this particular head on for ages, so that's what I'll do. All the pew for you. Your bases always look so awesome. Thank you, Hallam. That's really nice. As I was saying earlier on, I wasn't one for doing bases. It was my least favourite thing with models in general. I would just literally put some sand or some textured paint on them and then a wash and dry brush. But now I've sort of, with AT, I've definitely sort of gone a little bit further with my basing, and I think it's done quite well. I say I'm really happy with how they turn out as well, so that's the main thing. Yeah, that's what I'm aiming for, is that I like what I do. So I can just hear singing in the distance, so I can only mean we are doing okay still. It sounds happy singing. What's the other one? What's that? No, I'm trying not to work today. Mantic is tomorrow. Got new picks. Cool. Are you doing your new Sunday stream tomorrow as well with the Mantic guys? I know you was sort of mentioning that on Wednesday when we was doing the Wednesday night experiment. I still cannot think of a name for the Wednesday night stream. Paint over Wednesdays. Pow Wednesday. Yeah, weird. Midweek mayhem. Yeah, I can't think. Usually I'll just, like, 1,001 ideas per second. And I can't think of anything for a Wednesday. It'll just be the show with no name. Apart from that one. Yeah, definitely feeling the tiredness. Well, we've had this before, haven't we, really? It's all down to you guys. Keep me going, dudes and dudettes. Is that a thing? Is dudettes still? Is it a thing? Was it a thing? I don't know. Oh my god, I forgot I said I was going to try and stream on Sunday. If I do, it'll be solo because I'm prepared. You can do it. You know you can do it. You've got the skills. You've got the technology. Although, yeah, I do. So having that, just to make myself sound important, of course. Having a co-pilot of such renown by your side on a Wednesday, obviously, just makes things easier for you, surely. some random English guy who just turns up on a Wednesday night, normally eating and then drinking and talking about June, because that's what we do. That's our thing. Doing it again, I don't know, just not on screen. That was the whole point of putting that bloody cardboard sheet down so I can actually aim for somewhere to put the bloody thing. But no, I won't do that. I will paint off screen. Yeah. Deny you. I don't mean to. Actually, Scott just had a notification from one of my buddies we were do the role playing with, and they just saying they might not be able to do this Wednesday because England match. So I don't know if the other guys would be doing likewise. So you might have me longer. I'm gonna see what the other guys will say. I know, like, well, the DM, I don't think he's much of a football fan, but the other guys may very well be. So play that by ear. So once I know, you'll know. Where am I going now? I'm going down here. Paint on the screen. You have to be careful though, Scott, because this is sort of becoming sort of semi-organised. We don't do organised. Fly by the seat of our pants. We're proud of it. these front sections. Right, it's probably not helping because I'm doing it at an angle, so that's why I keep on getting myself lost with the positioning. I'll try it like this. See how that goes. I haven't seen any more juniors either, unfortunately. So, apart from what you broke last week when you was on the stream, there's been nothing else since. That's under here. Yeah, so these Titans are a big old beast, and there's so much stuff you got to paint on them. You've got to put pants on. Pants are always optional. I've just got my shorts on, just in case I have to stand up. Get that in there. As I said earlier on, you know when I'm concentrating because I'm not talking. Danger, Will Robinson. Yeah, well, basically, for the Warmaster, if you're not going to magnetize the AA mounts, basically, all you need is a 6x2 millimeter neodymium magnets of like, I always use N42 or above. N42 are more common, but they will do the job for you. With other Titans, generally using 5mm by 1mm magnets for like Warlords, Warbringers, carapaces on Reavers. But for Hounds and Reaver arms, they don't come with mag points, so you have to drill into them, which is a bit of a pain, especially if you haven't got a drill. You need a hobby drill and a 3mm drill bit. Yes, you're right, G Steeler. There's JS. Are you on AT18 on Facebook? Because on the top of their page, like on the pinned bits, there are all that sort of thing is actually mentioned there. But as I said, for the most part, most Titans you're using 5x1mm magnets. Warmaster using 6x2mm magnets. If you wanted to magnetize the AA mount guns, then you'd need a 3x1, I've heard mention. But as I said, I've not bothered at all with any of my Warmasters because they don't have any relevance in the game. Whether or not they do in the future, I don't know. But again, you know, with a Warmaster, you'd imagine that they'd go with the anti-aircraft to protect them, you know, from a fluff sense of perspective. Protect them from strafing rounds and that, especially from behind. Whereas from the front, you might get shot by the plasmas. So, but it's handy to have anyway. You're not even on Facebook. We'll have to check them out. Thanks for the info. Yeah, but as I said, Warmasters 6x2mm. Most other Titans, apart from Warhounds, 5x1mm. And then for Reaver arms and Warhound arms, if you're going to magnetise them, I use a 3x2mm. And as I said, you've got to drill into the plastic nubs of the arms to actually get them in. That's fun, to say the least. Most of my earlier Warhounds, I never bothered. I just glued pretty much what I would do, with Warhounds, I would always have a Vulcan Mega Bolter as one of the options, always, because they're one of the best weapons for shield stripping, and that's what you're using Hounds for, is to go around strip shields for your bigger guys to pummel. But then you want to give them something with a bit of punch, so I would alternate it for every 2 that I'd made for a Legio. Vulcan Mega Bolter on both, and then either a plasma or turbo laser. Because obviously plasmas, you've got the blast, which is, you know, devastating. Turbo laser is direct shot, but you can do cooled shots, so you can aim with it, whereas you can't with blast weapons. So if you are attacking a shielded Titan, because you have to basically, you can't, like, if you're squadroned, you've got to go Titan, Titan, Titan. You can't go, I'll just do the Vulcan Mega Bolter here, Vulcan Mega Bolter. You've got to do that one Titan in its entirety before moving on to the next one. So if it's shielded, I would generally more often than not go with Vulcan Mega Bolter first, and then turbo laser, because with the turbo laser, if you've got some shields down, you can pump the reactor for the shield bane, so it adds difficulty to their saves. So you've got more chance of obviously them losing their last shields, for example. And then once the shields are down, you'd hit it with a plasma gun, because you can't judge where it's going to hit. So you just fire it with the plasma gun, roll location, and hope you get body. Anything but a weapon, really. And then you can just, you know, once they've taken the damage from the plasma, then hopefully, if you've done enough damage, you might get pluses. Wherein the Vulcan Mega Bolter might get some shots if you're lucky. It's all down to those dices. Those dices are devils, I tell you. All right. Right. Now, the fist on red is going on for the Revelator missiles. I do like a red missile. Get that going now. So I'm just have to move it so I can actually see it. So, get me little brush. Get a little bit of taste. Brush lickers. Do love a bit of moot green for the eye lenses or targets. My wife is going to kill me if I dive head first into AT. So many great models. Yeah, there are so much awesome. So the Warlord, for me, was the first model I built in the new AT. And a sense of satisfaction from doing that really makes you sort of stand back and just go, this is such an awesome kit. And the Reavers are pretty cool too, so it's like the favourite kit of mine. And Warhounds as well have been really impressive. Sorry. Man, done it again. I got a preset maniple and a starter box and good to go. Yeah, you can't go wrong with those at all. The starter boxes, 4 Titans, all your tokens and control and command terminals and stuff, and tokens, dice, rulebook, and the new updated version of the rulebook as well. So excellent stuff. And I just realised as I finish off this bit, I've just painted the tilt shield and not not on the screen. That one, I'm going to go white with that one. So just finishing the knights from the starter. Yeah, I've got a few of them myself. The old Cerastus Lancers, such a great little kit model as well. I love my Lancers. Like my House Procon Vi has a full lance of Lancers. That's 12 Lancers. They're squads of 4. And I've played with them once. It was a 1,000-point game against my friend Mikey. We went up to Warhammer World for a game, and he was using my Legio Krytos Reavers. He was doing a Corsair Maniple. That's the right one. Against my lance of Lancers. And yeah, they actually equipped themselves pretty well in battle. Killed all 3. But they did take some mauling from one of the Reavers because it had melter cannons. And melter cannons on knights is not fun. Probably I think melter cannons are probably, obviously with Reavers, that's like one of the strongest weapons you got. But yeah, it just decimated some of my knights. Just didn't have a bunch of transfers. Might get this banner done tomorrow. And I say, I'm sure you don't need to sort of like rush through with everything on that, Rob. So take it easy. Don't want to get stressed out over decals and stuff now, do you? I may have been looking at yours while I'm working on them. It's really awesome that the 80s scale and 28 scale are identical models. It really helps me posing my large models. Yeah, definitely, yeah. Because that was always the story of the old times, where they made Titans and then they sort of rushed through building the other Titan, tanks and stuff, and just didn't really focus on the scale of things. And that's why they always looked a little bit junky and, you know, just wrong in general. So it was it would be good if they do go down the epic route. We can speculate all we like. Hopefully one day we will get them in our lives. Right. I'm feeling the need to stick some bits on. So, where's my little clippers? Little clippers, where are you? I know I brought you in here. Big clippers, where's little clippers? Come on, stop hiding. No. Oh, there you are. Just hanging out with the beer. But before I do that, I'll just for your entertainment, he says. Here's one of the Reavers. Like just sticking on the double melters. Always fun. You can see obviously like the basing on this. Like this is one of like my first ones. Like so, this and my early Ignitum didn't really, you know, just rubbly strewn, no real detail to it. And when you compare them to like so here's a slightly later Reaver. This was the last Reaver I've done. I've only done 3 Reavers for these guys. So you got the Astorum dog on the floor with it standing on it. Just using spare parts from the kits. I'm actually trying to think about how many different Titans I have on bases as well. So like how many actual Legios I have actually painted. That's a Taurus that I did. And we've got a Astorum. Seeing if yeah, so that's the only 2 Titans I've got on the bases of these guys is a Taurus and Astroman. Not Astroman, Astorum, sorry. So and then so that the Warbringer. It's the last Warbringer I did. So with the skull mask on its Centurion type head, stepping on buildings. Ooh, sorry. And that one's stuck in. Oh no, it's not. It's magnetized. Yeah, sorry. I did magnetise those ones. So and there's the other Warbringer. Much different. Magnetised. I'm just glad that they are magnetised. Because that would be awkward if I just pulled one of the anti aircraft guns out. Right, so I've been my phone went weird. You're hesitant on starting decals, not sure. Yeah, they said there's no real guides as to where the decal should go. So you have to use your own sort of like feelings for where it is. So like with, just trying to think. So I've lost his arm now. So like this dude, for example. So you know, Krytos symbol on the side here. Another Krytos symbol, knee pad there on the top shoulder. Another one there. Another one there. So yeah, it's never sort of sure of where to put them really. Just do your best as you can really. That's all you can do. I find don't try to go too mental with them. Going over the top, it just makes it look worse. So just try and keep the numbers down a little bit at least, and not going too crazy is never a bad thing. Yeah, there's dual melters in the Legio Walks event last year. I was using for my smaller units. I was using the Venator Light Maniple. So with 2 Warhounds and a double melter Reaver with a turbo laser on the top. So with that, you had a bit of range with no negative modifiers for the range, unlike las blasters, because over 16 inches you get -1 to hit. So if you're playing against somebody using las blasters, make sure that they do that. Or if they say to you, well, if they're using turbo lasers, make sure they don't have 3 shots, 3 dice, because they should only have 2. So that's the thing, you get less shots, but you get no negative modifier at long range. But with the las blaster, you get 3 shots, but you have -1 at 16 inches plus. So be careful. Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue these parts in, but not the overlay, because painting. Super glue. Oh, the missile, that was the void warp missile. So that's a Forge World upgrade on that Reaver. So it's only a one-shot weapon, but if you hit, it can be really nasty, like doing crits and stuff, because it bypasses shields. But it's a one shot, so for what you spend out, you only get one chance. So some people use multiple warp missiles and shoot at one target to hopefully get some hits, but it's the crits, because you could, if you got a real good roll with a couple of them, you know, on the body as well, if you're aiming for the body and you get a couple of crits, then the shields come down, the void shield generator blows, no shields, and then you just pummel them with everything else. Is it difficult to get these poses? It comes with experience and practice, and obviously studying people's pictures. So if you see a pose that you like, obviously just have a good old look around, and hopefully you get a feel for it from the pictures. Or even if some people might be willing to send you pictures, but obviously ask nicely. I said, like most of my stuff, I always post up multiple pictures from different angles anyway, so you'll be able to find them either on my Instagram, or if you're on Facebook with my page, Forge of Mars, Forge of Mars anyway. And then you can go from there, really, and just take your time with them. Warhounds are fairly straightforward with their posing anyway, because they're fixed legged, but you can muck about with them, so you do have options, but again, just check out people's work and see what catches your eye. See what inspires you, because there are a whole host of really talented hobbyists out there, and sometimes I've been impressed and inspired by other hobbyists, because they just think outside the box, do something that you wouldn't even thought of, and then you just go, "Wait, that's cool, I'm going to do that myself," and then just go for it. As I say, like having groups like AT18, that is really, really helpful, because there's so much great work being posted up on there, that you can't go wrong. You'll see something, and as I said, it will inspire you to do something with yours. So research, search them out. These ankle bits. Tidy them up as well. Yeah, same I do with my 40k knights. I do go mad with transfers. I like them, especially large knights, all the honours, oaths, warnings, kill marks, allegiances. Yeah, as I say, when they do their sort of artwork, like the official artwork, you do get these, like, sometimes you get the little decals and you go, oh yeah, that's on the sheet, but then sometimes you don't, and then it's just like, well, what do I do? Where do I put this? There's no rhyme or reason to put something anywhere. Don't put something there, just out of, the idea of putting it in place. Oh, damn it. No. Alright, I can't put the front ones on. Oh, sorry. I can't put the front one on because you need to have the front plate in place. So I'll just do the sides for now. Let's get one more then. These leggies with the plates on it. So you've just got to put the once I've painted the trim, then I can put the front plates on, which they clip into these little bits here. There. There's a really good little fit, so it actually just draws everything and tightens it up nicely. I might get another melter, perhaps go melter power fist. Again, it depends on what, certain legios have like the bonuses for close combat, like Gryphonicus in particular now, after their sort of their rules tweaked. But yeah, Reavers in close combat, there's always going to be sort of a worry to have a Reaver coming at you with close combat weapon in tow, because obviously it can hurt, especially if they're using stratagems as well to get in and attack. But yeah, it's I'm trying to think what the other. Again, another Legio which is good for close combat on the loyalist side of things is Fire Wasps, because they get the reroll ones within 12 inches. So it doesn't specify melee trait or normal weapons, so or shooting weapons. So you obviously you get to reroll ones within 12 inches of the enemy. So it's quite handy. And again, if you're using that with a power fist, even better. Obviously, you want to get every shot punching, basically. I only got a sheet for my Solaria at the moment. I have to figure it all out. Yeah, say with Solaria, are you following my Instagram, which is cunningly called the Forge of Mars, G-Stealer? Because if you go through that, or if you get Rob's Instagram as well, we've got Titans up. You can see decals, positions from there, and that helps out. I'll give you a little bit more sort of a guide, because both of us are fairly good at putting decals on our Titans and stuff. Yeah, one sheet does do plenty. I only had 2 sheets because I bought the Titans off my friend Matt Potter, who was because none of his friends played it, and so he started doing Solaria. He actually started the Solaria Facebook group as well, that I admin on. But yeah, he decided he was going to walk away, and so he asked me if I wanted to buy him off of him. So it was only like a warlord, a few unbuilt Titans. So I took them off his hands, and it got a Solaria transfer sheet as well. So that was a result. Power through it, Lee. No sleep till Hammersmith. I'm trying. I am trying. I am really trying. Do the Walks use Legio rules? They haven't in the past, and we have spoke about it in the admin chat, because it's such a big game, and we have tried to just streamline it, and having sort of Legio rules might make the game longer. There's not been a definitive yay or nay as yet, because there are some people who are turning up with their homebrew Legio, so they'll be using obviously the Legio creation rules. Personally, I don't see it being that much of a problem, as long as you're using the rules and you're open with them. It should be fine. But I'm not overall command, so I'm just a I'm just an admin. I don't do the blog stuff. I just obviously on the Facebook page. So when you post up stuff on Facebook, Titan Only Club, it's normally myself or someone else who will be admitting it, because we basically don't. We had problems with people posting stuff before, so that's why we do the admin clearance now. Because some of the stuff they're posting up was against group rules, or just sales pitches. So yeah, hopefully though, but who knows? As I said, it just makes it easier if everyone's on an even kill, because then it's something less to worry, not having to worry about, having to remember those sort of things. And half the time, like with Legio rules, I forget them anyway. And G Steelers found Rob's Instagram. You'll be in there for days, dude. Days, I tells you. Right. What time have we gone? Oh my god. Oh, there it is. The big beastie, face between the legs. So yeah, oh, it's looking all right. Yeah, I'm really struggling here, people. I can't really focus on what I'm doing. Full stop. I don't think it's the alcohol. I've only had 2 or 3, but I'm so tired. So I'm going to have to call it early on this one, I feel. Because I'm not going to get anywhere fast, unfortunately. So yes, so I just have to say thank you all again for joining me this Saturday. I do apologise. Hopefully next week I won't be so tired. It was a bit of a mental day, but yeah. Thanks for hanging with us. I'll continue this tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday when I get the opportunity. Every moment I'm going to be working on this little bugger, and hopefully get this sorted out and finished off next week, as I normally do. Cheers, Rob. Helping out others, always good to see. And so yeah, it's good. So I'm gonna get that out of the way because that's right in my eyes, and that's bad enough trying to focus. So yes, all right, Jay. I was lurking, Jay. I was wondering where you were. And David, G Steeler, JS, Rob, and everyone else who's joined this evening. Thank you very much. Always nice to have you hanging out and hobbying and helping out with any sort of choices that I may have. And yeah, everything. I can't even get words out now. But yeah, as I said, thank you very much again for coming in on Saturdays and spending your valuable hobby time with me. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and that when I see you all next, a little bit more with it. So I just want to say take care and keep on hobbying. I hope to see your stuff on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook that you've been doing, and obviously I'll get some more pictures posted once I've get through this monster. So ciao for now, and we'll see you again soon. So take care.